Hey there, friends. Good morning. It is January 25th, 2018. My name is Jeff Fritz. Welcome back to the stream. I've got a guest today. I'm really excited to get into this because I struggle with documentation. It's something that I like to think I can do okay. I'm kind of all right at writing a little bit to go on to my GitHub repositories, but I wanted to bring in a professional. Yeah. So my guest today is Myra Wenzel
Hey.
from Hey Myra from the Docs team. So let me read her bio real quick. Myra is a senior content developer from the .NET documentation team. She's been with Microsoft for about 9 years, and before joining Microsoft, she was a software developer in Brazil, primarily in financial and pharmaceutical industries. And back then, she worked for a couple of Microsoft partners, and she started writing C# back in 2002. So thanks so much for joining me today, Myra. This is going to be fun.
Yes. Thank you for inviting me. That's exciting.
Oh yeah. So so you're responsible for helping out and building some of the documentation that's on docsmicrosoft.com. What's that like? I mean, that feels like a huge resource to maintain.
Yeah, well, I don't even know how many pages we have it there. But we have several teams across Microsoft working on Docs. So we kind of are separated by technologies.
Mm,
So my area of focus is .NET Framework and .NET Core.
okay. Okay. So right in those areas that I work, and I think a bunch of folks that are out there watching on the stream, they're interested in documentation for .NET. They're referring to it on a regular basis. So this is cool. This is going to land right where some of those folks are working on a regular basis. That's cool. I want to go
There's someone
to.
saying that you're a bit quiet
I'm a bit
compared.
quiet. Let's
Yes.
see here. And I think I need to push yours up a little bit. How's that? Does that sound a little bit better? Let me know. Is that? Let's see on the chat room.
For me, it looks fine.
How am I
It
doing?
was.
Looking at the chat and seeing if we say anything. No difference. Really?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I can hear you really well, so I'm not sure.
Let's check my.
Oh my God, I'm quite loud, so I need to tone it down.
Here, I can pull that back.
Okay.
There, is that better? And then I'm all the way up here. Let me see. Let's just take a quick peek at my settings. Yeah, I'm all the way up. Let's see if Windows is doing something terrible to me. It is. I'm usually way up here. How's that? Is that better? My gain was turned down on my microphone. How are we doing now? It still looks low. I tell you, these things.
Okay, they're saying that it's
Is
better
that
now.
better? Now,
Yeah.
for some reason, it's Windows is deciding to auto level me and is taking it down a bit. It's like, thanks. What do you think you're doing there?
Oh,
Um,
but they're saying that's good, so I
is
think we
it's
should.
good? Let me. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna check one thing here. So Skype has automatically adjust microphone settings. I think it's doing that to me. So that's where I like to be, right about there. How are we doing now? Does that sound a lot better? Much better, I'm saying.
Yay.
Fantastic. Yeah, Skype is auto leveling and killing my microphone. Go away, Skype. All
Well,
right.
it's a pleasure to be here, so
Oh
thank you.
yeah, this is going to be fun. I enjoy doing these streams because pair programming and showing people that all the demos that we do live on stage and some of the documentation and samples that people see that we write, the blog posts, they take a lot of time and we're not experts right from the get-go on some of these things. Yeah, we're experts at it, but it's not, we know some of these things like the back of our hand, but not everything. So,
Yeah, and it's like I'm usually in the on the behind the scenes and like that's my first live streaming, so please be
yeah, be
gentle.
gentle, guys. Be gentle there in the chat rooms. All right. So, I went out and I was looking at. I'm going to open up docsmicrosoft.com and I'm going to change over to our view here so we can take a look. I mean, there's a tremendous number of resources here, and how do you even get started in here, right? If I wanted to submit a fix to something, right? I know there's a bunch of different things out here where, oh, I want to update some code. Oh, I want to go and I want to submit a sample. What if there's a simple thing that I want to fix out there? How do I go about doing that?
So when you're reading an article, right, and you see a typo or something, in docs.microsoft.com, we have an edit button now. Like we just open source our documentation last year, and it's been a huge effort to migrate everything off MSDN. And so you can just click edit, and it will take you right to the right page on GitHub where you can make the fix.
Okay, so you were telling me in the prep for this that there's a lot of folks out there that like to repeat the word "the" in their articles.
Yeah, I learned on a recent training that the it's a common typo. So I fixed them all in .NET, but I'm sure we can find some more in Docs in general.
So let's go out. I'm going to run a quick Bing query here to see if we can find the sitting in somebody's documentation. So let's just check the first one here. And it looks like a good article, migrating from ASP.NET to ASP.NET Core 2. I'm just going to do a Control F find. And you can't see it there behind me. There it is behind me over there. I'm going to search for...
question. I'm not seeing your screen here, so should I be...
So take a look. So go to either Twitch or to Mixer, and you'll be able to see me there.
Okay.
So I could try, you know what, let me try doing share screens and let's see if it impacts us.
No, okay.
I'm going to do the share screens. Let's see how we're doing. Now folks on the stream, this is in the past it's clobbered my throughput here a little bit. How's that? Now you can see there in Skype.
I can do that here too if that's
all right.
That's better.
There's just a little bit of a delay.
Okay, yeah.
All right. So I will stop sharing screens to you. So here we go. Look at the folks here in the chat room. There should be an auto remove repeated the extensions in their browser. So who wrote this article? So you know what? Doesn't matter who wrote this article. We want to help. So, all right, you were saying there's an edit button. I see it up here, and there's this, the application calls each of the middleware components. Simple fix, right?
Yeah.
So if I click that, so here's the GitHub. Oh, I see why our friend Isaac is highlighting this. Who wrote that? Yeah. Okay. So
yeah, and you can see who wrote, like we have the author there, so.
Right, so.
Isaac, and he's here.
And Scott Addy, yeah, there we go. So I'm going to click into this edit, and I'm going to go find that the. Oops. Yeah, it's searching up top there. There we go. All right, simple mistake. I'm just going to remove that. I should probably look and see if there's another one, shouldn't I? Nope, no more. All right. So like a good developer, I'm going to write a good commit message here. Fixed it. That's all we need to say, right? No. Cleaned up a duplicated the. All right. Now I could commit directly to the master branch because I have access. But that's a bad idea. I'm going to create a new branch.
We do protect ours in .NET, so you don't have those same powers in
not everybody has these wonderful, amazing powers. I happen to be a member of the ASP.NET team, so I'm allowed to commit directly, but let's make it a realistic example.
Yes.
So I'm just going to call this C# Fritz patch 1 and propose that. Thanks for the follow, Polo Pablito. Welcome. All right. So, because this was one really big line, it's showing me the change there. Where'd it go?
Yeah.
So where's our the in the former?
Let's see. Let me.
Oh, there it is over here. Oh, and look, Skyhoshi is hosting us. Cool, thank you. All right. So that seems really easy. Now, so I mean, I wrote this little pull request. Um, oh gosh, and it wants me to fill out a template. So, what do you look for in the template for a pull request about contributing to the docs?
Um, it doesn't have to be anything. It can be really simple, like just what you've changed and what was the idea behind. Because if it's a more complicated fix, or if you're thinking about doing a more extensive change, we would recommend that you first open an issue and discuss it with us, so you don't waste your time doing things that maybe will not take it. But if you find something that is like a simple fix, just go ahead and do the PR, and you can say, like, you don't even need any more. It's like
Because of how simple this is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
But if I was writing a sample piece of code that I wanted to submit, or I was expanding an explanation of something, then I should really open an issue first to discuss it.
Yeah, if you find like an error in code, you can even just go do a PR. But if you're like, I think you're missing this doc, and I think I want to add that, or I want to create a new sample that shows these patterns and practices here.
Okay.
Yeah, then open an issue and discuss, so you don't do that and then we reject for N reasons. Like if it's not, like, we don't usually reject, but like we have a filter in what we accept or not, or like if it makes sense. So you can discuss with us. We are all very friendly, and we welcome everyone.
Right. They don't bite. Okay.
No.
So this is a simple one. Cleaned up a duplicated the. I don't really need a description
Anything
here.
else? No.
Because it's such a simple change. So I'll just create that pull request. And that goes into the queue. Somebody will review it, and oh wow, it's even going to do a check to see if it can be built. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then some people are commenting that some repos are really large, and I think we're looking to that. Like in the case of .NET, we're probably going to be splitting that repo a little bit, and so you'll probably see that change coming in the next few weeks.
Yeah, gosh, when I cloned the .NET repository to put it down local on my machine here, and I was just looking at, right, here's all the snippets that are out there for, what was the folder I was just in? It was WebNet.
Yeah.
Right, VS snippets. Let me go down into WebNet. And then I did a directory here. Are you kidding? There's almost 2,500 different snippets and samples. Wow. You know, that's a lot of code and samples out there. And it kind of makes sense when you think about how big the BCL is. There's tremendous content out there on those docs. And hats off to you guys for maintaining all of this.
Yeah, and it's like it's hard to maintain, and so we keep getting issues, and some go to the backlog. This is, we don't have enough people to do all the work that needs to be done. So, and it's like we have a lot of legacy, so we try to clean up, and we use like BI data, like, oh, these are the resources that are most accessed, and people are needing that content to focus our energy on those.
So you're looking at things like the number of times people visit different pages and trying to figure out what to tune, what to expand, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and
cool.
and see, like the CSAT, which is like if people vote up and down in the documentation.
Yeah. Okay. So if I go back to that documentation page, right? So this amazing article by our friend Isaac. So when this gets accepted, even though I made that tiny change, my little picture will appear up here next to the rest of our friends.
Yes.
So, and then I can put it on LinkedIn, and I can say, I am a Microsoft documentation contributor.
Yeah, like Isaac.
Like Isaac.
Yeah, he just joined us. Like,
what, a couple weeks ago Isaac joined? So,
yeah.
Very cool stuff. And I'm wearing my MVP hat today. This actually, contributions to the docs do help with your MVP credentials. If you want to become an MVP, if you are an MVP and you want to be renewed, we look at these contributions to the docs, and if folks like Myra and Isaac say, and Scott out there say, you know what, hey, Jeff's been a real good contributor for us, then at MVP renewal time or nomination time, absolutely, we'll put folks in. So we want to recognize you for helping us out.
And then that did help in a couple of cases.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. So we do give feedback to the product team on people that are really really standing out in our contributions.
Cool. Very cool. All right. Now the article that I needed, I was looking at and saying, oh, I really need to help this documentation out here, is around configuration builders. Because when we announced configuration builders, and that was way back, it's not in this document, right? I went further into it here, but here it was. So this was back in September. Preety wrote a blog post and more or less said, here's what a configuration builder is, and here's what the abstract class looks like. And the folks that were writing and submitting the documentation for this, they really didn't go past really some of these couple things here, and didn't put any sample code into the documentation.
Yes.
Which feels bad.
Yeah.
You know, it's like really? It doesn't encourage folks to use the feature, and I've been doing a lot of talking about the configuration builders feature here on this stream. And I even did a talk last night at my local user group. And I showed off this feature, and people weren't aware of it, and that makes me, as the program manager, feel bad. So here's that article, and it's really short. I mean, it's just here, derive from this to read configuration from some external source. Okay.
Yeah, and just to explain our process, because we first do a pass of just filling the minimal description, because we also have some mandate to document the entire framework. But then we have to prioritize and divide our between .NET Core and the new framework APIs, the new core APIs, and so yeah, sometimes we will end up adding those things later.
Okay, and thank you, Philly.net, for hosting us here. All right, so this is one of those articles that really just got the minimum because we needed to document it, and we didn't spend, to me as the program manager, bad on me, I didn't spend time writing enough to get this built out and have more information than just those things that are behind the triple slashes and auto-commented and auto-docked in our code. So, shame on me. Cool. No problem.
We can always learn. And Scott Addy already approved your PR as well. So.
Are you kidding?
Yeah. He just merged.
He just merged it? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So we'll see a build happen, and this will be updated sometime later this week?
Yeah, probably later today or tomorrow will be live.
Fantastic. And I'll see and then I will be a ASP.NET documenter. That's cool. But I want to go back to this configuration builder class. So I don't like what's here, and I think when I speak to folks about this feature, I refer them back to these blog posts where I say, well, here's kind of what it looks like, and here's kind of how you use it. And really, using blog as documentation, I think, is a bad thing, right? Because then people.
Yeah, I think it's a good startup for having that, but we need to import all of those as time goes on.
Right. It's nice to have an announcement, but we need to get that information in there, into the documentation where it's going to be maintained long term, because really blogs are announcements. It's not documentation. It's not going to be maintained. Like the historical articles aren't going to be maintained. You know what? I've got a couple. I just want to hit what's in the chat room real quick. Question from Myra from Isaac. Is there a long-term strategy for issues that have been open for years? As someone who contributes to the biggest issue I have is tracking down the status of an issue. Is there a goal on how to handle older issues?
So we were now just tracking kind of like the new issues. Like we do a triage every week of
Okay.
new issues, and Bill Wagner, which is a coworker of mine, and I are kind of going through the list now and prioritizing. And then when we find something that doesn't make sense, then we're cutting it out. But yeah, we're trying to doing a prioritization exercise now to help folks, and we do use the up for grabs label for if people want to jump in. But yeah, before you jump in, reach out so we can give a status on if you want to help on an issue. Like, just make sure that it's still valid and that we still want that work before you do the work.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna leave things open for a bit. We're gonna triage and decide what older things aren't really valid anymore, but try and encourage the community to help out because it is a massive job. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Surprised and confused me too when I read this article. What's this documentation you guys are talking about? Let's see. Folks are going to come back and check the video later, so we archive.
What is documentation?
The code is. That doesn't quite
that's
work.
not what people say. They complain when we don't document things. So so for people that are more resourceful, I think code is enough. But yeah, we do need docs.
And there's a certain amount of yak shaving that you go through when the code is enough documentation, because then you go through this process of, I got to go to GitHub. Let me go find the project. What's the source file that matches this thing that I'm looking at? All right, let me go find that source file. And then you spend how much time reading that source file, where if the author wrote what they intended and gave you at least some direction as to what they intended in a little bit of documentation, and we're not looking at a lot here, it would go so much further for folks. So that's why I think it's important, right? I look at the success of like jQuery and the jQuery library. That really succeeded because of the tremendous documentation that was out there and how easy it was to pick up and use it. So, do most people here know the term yak shaving? Oh my gosh. Myra, you know what yak shaving is, don't you?
No.
No? Oh my gosh. Yak, okay.
But I'm not a native speaker. So.
No, that's okay. So yak shaving is that process that you have to go through before you can actually do what it is that you want to do, right? It's if you wanted to, if you had caught a yak and you wanted to have yak soup for dinner, the first thing before you could do anything is shave the yak. And the yak has so much hair, right? It's this large, hairy animal, and it takes a very long time to remove all that hair, right? Same problem with plucking feathers from chickens. It takes a long time to do.
Yeah. Okay.
So
that's why we make sure as well that you guys don't enter that kind of terms in the docs.
Yeah, we don't want that. Docs are a little bit more
translate
formal.
into other languages. Yeah, I had to look it up what a yak was.
Yes, very hairy buffalo.
Yeah.
So, all right. I want to update this little bit of documentation for Configuration Builder. Now, I took some time. I already cloned the repository. I actually have it sitting here in my GitHub. So, and I renamed it to .NET-docs just so I could be able to tell what the repository was. And wow, is it like Isaac was saying there in the chat room, it's huge to clone this thing. But it's literally all of .NET's documentation. Now, I wanted to add a section to this that with examples that looks a little bit like the configuration section documentation. So let me click and open that one here. So what's great about this piece of documentation that I want to emulate is we have examples, and it shows, here's how you would write a configuration section with a little bit of sample code. And I've already got that code written over here I can do a little bit more than this from the blog post, but I do have that sample code written that I can just copy in. And let me go back to the configuration section. And then after this big piece of C# code, there's, oh gosh, well, it's this little bit of XML here that I think we can clean this up too. That defines here's how you reference and use this thing. So can I do an edit on this real quick and fix this one too?
Sure.
All right, let's do that one. So I'm going to click edit, right? And it looks weird with each of the XML elements as separate lines. And
Yes.
right, we're seeing that because of Markdown here, right?
Yep.
Okay. So let me click into the edit deal here. So we'll scroll down. All right.
Yeah, so our files right now, they are either Markdown or for the API reference, they are in this Markdown ECMA XML format. But we might change everything to Markdown to make it easier for folks. So we're always innovating, and I think we're trying to make it easier for to be consistent across docs on how you would contribute. So
Okay. That would make it really easy for folks.
yeah.
You know? All right, so I can put a couple more spaces in here. And let's get rid of that. Okay, do I have an extra? Yep, there's another tilde out there. Another backtick, that's what it is. And get rid of, let's leave that line. So custom section, yep, that looks good. And then we're going to end with an end configuration. Cool, all right. And then it's 3 backticks to end this, right?
Yes.
All right, so we start a code block with backtick, backtick, backtick. Say that 3 times fast. And then the language. And then, all right, my code, and then 3 backticks. All right. Fixed code formatting. Palorin, thank you for the follow. And there's our friend Steve. Good morning, Steve. Okay, and I'm going to call this one patch fix XML. All right, and I'll commit those changes into a new branch, and we'll create another pull request. All right, so here's the template again. Now this one I think I actually need to write a little bit more here. So I'm going to delete everything down to details.
Yeah, so we just provide a template there so people can just read and use what they think it's good.
Sure, right. You don't want people to just put stuff out there and you want to give them suggestions, some direction as to how to describe what it is they fixed.
Yeah. And some people don't realize there is a template there, so sometimes we just get the whole template there on the PR.
And fixed formatting in the configuration XML sample. And I'm not going to suggest a reviewer. All right.
Or you can ping me and I can be.
Oh my gosh, let's do that. Suggested. Oh, spelled right. Reviewers. Please ask at. There she is. To review. Cool. And that's a terrible title. Gosh. Removed extra spaces and grouped code formatting. All right.
I didn't think it was that bad.
Really? All right. We'll do that. We'll say it was good then. All right.
Yeah, so our build takes a little bit longer because we do have all the reference there. So we're probably not going to be able to merge it during the live streaming, but it will be. We'll review it later today and approve.
Cool. All right. So my configuration builder one. Now let me just back up to the configuration section. That was this one. All right. So I want to have the very similar section here and then similar remarks. I don't know if I need a note. But so I want to emulate this and then this bit here as well with the code. So what I did was I used Visual Studio Code because that's what I like to edit Markdown in.
And I open a bug. If you see the coloring on the sample, it's a little bit weird on docs. So I open a bug for that as well.
Oh,
I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why it's losing the coloring on there.
Oh, down.
Yeah,
here.
down on the sample code.
Is it because the string validator went to a second line?
Yeah. Maybe it's some of the characters. I don't know.
Oh yeah, look at with the quote in there. I bet you I think you're right. It probably
so
got tricked up there.
Yeah, so I asked them to fix that. So hopefully soon. And one thing I wanted to mention, because not everyone realizes, but it has a language selector on the corner as well. So if you're not a C#, you're a VB developer, you can switch the language on the articles. And right now the syntax, and we have a PR to add syntax for VB, F#, and C++. We're just working on some issues before we merge, so that is coming up soon as well.
Cool. Okay. So let's take a look at what I wrote. So I opened the configuration builder XML. I went and found it exactly in the hierarchy of where it was. Mm-hmm. And I took the remarks section. So I'm guessing the remarks section for this lines up with this element here. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay.
For the one in the bottom, yeah.
Okay. So in my code, in my article that I wanted to update, I took it and reformatted it and said format type equals text markdown, so that it looks just like that configuration section, since I want to emulate that look and feel. Yeah. And then I just moved the text that was in remarks to under this second heading remarks. Yes. So it's the exact same code, text. I'm sorry. Ooh, the exact same text there.
You can use other articles as a template. It's a good idea. Okay. I would suggest you remove the extra spacing there in between sentences as well.
Extra spacing between sentences.
Like look at your first paragraph.
Here. Okay.
Because otherwise I'm gonna have to comment on that.
So I added a block here. Several implementations of these are available, and then I provided links to the ones that we have available on NuGet.org. So the dash, this should turn into a bulleted list, right? Mm-hmm. And those are okay to put in documentation like that?
Yeah.
Okay. And I just put a little definition next to them as to what each one of these does.
Yeah.
And then I created another examples area. The following example shows how to implement a simple configuration builder to read environment variables. And then I thought this was kind of cool. This looks like some custom markup here with the bang code C#, and then it's kind of a pointer out to a C# file that says here's the code, right?
Yeah.
So
that's like an extension to like a markdown extension for docs that we have.
Oops.
And we do have a style guide in our .NET docs repo showing some of these extensions. And I believe we're creating like an official, let me see if it's there, an official contributing guide online. So it's docs.microsoft.com/contribute. And so
docs.microsoft.com/contribute. Oh, cool. So about this guide.
We have a quick guide in a repo for like just these extensions and some of the link formats and some little things that are different.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's the official guidance that's people are working on and putting together.
Very cool. And then different suggestions, community discussion on these things. Awesome. All right, so let me show you the code that I wrote. So there's this here that, I only wrote C# for it because, well, I am C# Fritz, so C# first. So I wrote a little file called sample configuration builder CS, and it's over here, and it's in the same namespace as the other config samples that I saw.
Mm-hmm.
I called it sample configuration builder because I do naming pretty obviously, I think. It's like that
Just
works.
good.
Yeah. And I implemented, just those things that I needed to implement to make a very basic configuration builder that reads environment variables, expands them, and
Mm-hmm.
then loads that content out into our document. So very simple example. I've shown this example in the past I think I showed it at Ignite. I don't know. I can't remember. Ignite or Build.
Okay.
There's a Channel 9 video out there where I showed this. Trust me on it.
I will. All right.
So I reference and include that here on line 31 inside of my XML. So the extension, if I understand correctly, will take that and format it and stick it here with that cool formatting that we see in the documents.
Yeah, so the only thing I would say, because let me just see, I'm seeing the number 1. Like, can I see the end of the line just to see what it looks?
Sure.
Okay, so you're using the hashtag 1, so that defines like a region on our sample code. So let me open that
This
up.
bit right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let me open the configuration section. So we use like comments with a certain tag when we want to pull out just specific regions of the source code. If you want to just pull out everything, you just remove the hashtag 1.
Oh, let's remove that. Let's
Okay.
let's make it simple.
Okay. Yeah. So that's simple.
Okay. And then I wrote the following example is an excerpt of a configuration file as it applies to the previous example. This applies environment variables to the app settings configuration and makes those values available under configuration manager.app settings. Now, should I decorate configuration manager app settings with some?
We usually use italics for file name, so you can do the
asterisks. That's not so this isn't a file name. I'm actually referring to
to the API?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a special link, like another extension for links. Let me
Right. I'm going to click in and find the app settings property here. I want to it would be great if I could link that to this article. All right. So what do I do to make that happen?
Okay. So you go back to app settings. Let me go so I can spell it out for you. So you put that into brackets and put what we call like an xref link. So it's XREF, which stands for cross reference. Like it's like the greater than sign. Sorry, like I don't know how to say.
Do I use the round parentheses or do I use the angle brackets?
The angle brackets. Yes.
Okay. Like this?
So no, so like how can I explain? Like let me see an example where you can find it.
Okay.
So it's like less than sign xref. So it's like before the configuration manager value. So it's not a regular link.
Oh, okay.
It's not a traditional. You can do like that, but we usually use so like that, and then write xref. So x.
Do I write that inside the brackets?
Yeah. The first thing inside the brackets.
xref like this.
Let's see. As soon as it shows up. Yeah, colon. And then the full name. So let's see, what is the
article?
No, the full API name. So like with namespace. So
system
dot.
Configuration.
configuration.
I think that's right. I'm going to go back over to the article here. So, system configuration, configuration manager, app settings.
Yep. That's it.
Okay. So I'll save that. And then I have my XML for the configuration that I actually want to show.
Yeah, and then if you wanted to, so if you do the link like that, it will just say app settings. And then we have kind of a query parameter for when you want to do type.member name. So let me see the exact notation. So it's like a query string for, like, let me see really quickly, because even I don't know by heart. So it's a query string called display property. So
display property, like that?
Yeah. Let's see. It's coming up. Yeah, exactly. Equals.
Yep.
And name.
Mm-hmm.
With uppercase W and type uppercase T. Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that will make the link show up as configuration manager.app settings.
Oh, okay. So this is telling the Markdown renderer to generate a cross-reference link to this API, System Configuration Manager System Configuration Manager app settings. And then the query string is saying output this text, configuration manager.app settings.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, we explain how that works in the style guide. So.
Man, now you're making me sound bad that I didn't read the style guide over here.
Oh, no. Okay, let me see if there are any other questions here.
Markdown Monster. Folks are recommending.
Yeah, from Rick Straw, I think, wrote that, right?
So would you write your Markdown in another file and then copy it into this layout?
I'm so used to just there in the middle.
Okay.
But yeah, you can. I think it'll be easier once we move to everything marked down, then everything will render nicely, because having that inside the C data block, it doesn't render nicely on Markdown. But yeah, but you can. Definitely can. I use Visual Studio Code because we also have some extensions that help us with some of the tasks.
Oh, cool. Is there something I should add that you would recommend?
Yeah, like it's not public yet. I don't know where the plans are, but yeah, I can send you some links for extensions that we have. It's not public, so we'll see.
Cool.
I do use Markdown lint for like just style.
All right. Markdown lint. Let's see if I can find that real quick. Markdown lint. Oh, there's SAS lint.
I'll confirm.
Lua lint. And look at this. I'm being scolded by playing with scissors. I'm being scolded by somebody who plays with scissors in the chat room. What is that? Come on now. Oh, and there's our friend Bill Wagner. Markdown lint is an awesome extension, he says. All right, now I've got to find it.
It's all together.
All one word. All right. Oh, yeah, look at that. Let's see. What's this? Markdown markup language, easy to read, write and understand. It succeeds in its flexibility, is both a benefit and a drawback. Many styles are possible. Blah, 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 blah. Well, what's it do? Oh, look at that. So it throws errors for you.
Yeah, I kind of do some squiggles.
Okay.
And do some recommendations.
How do I
and I think you can configure the rules. I've been lazy and I have not configured the rules. Because there are some things that I don't do, and so
Okay. So actually, it looks like I don't know how I got it. It must have come down with something else, but it looks like I've already got it.
Okay.
So
Got out of focus here.
lucky me. Um. All right. Go away. So
And
I guess
Bill
if I
put
was.
on the chat is our awesome C# writer as well. So
Oh my gosh, yes. So, yeah, I've been working with Bill over the past few days trying to get things locked down for a cool documentation session at MVP Summit. So, looking forward to that.
yes.
What do we? I prefer Typora. It's much more. It's much simpler to use. I'm not familiar with Typora. Is that another Markdown editor?
I don't know that one.
Yeah. Okay. So I've got my changes here. I've got a little bit of extra space down here at the bottom. Let me get rid of that because nobody likes extra space. They prefer
Yeah.
tabs. All right, I'm going to save that. I've got my other file here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and commit a change. Now this will go into my forked copy of the repository, and then we can push that up and create a pull request.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this is, I'm going to say added examples to system configuration build. Oh, it's system configuration builder.
Are you working from master? From the master branch?
I'm working in my master branch.
Yeah.
Oh
No,
my
you
gosh.
can do that, but usually I would recommend creating a branch so it's isolated. So you can
Absolutely.
still do that now.
No.
And we'll transfer the changes.
I preached this on the stream. I always try to create feature branches for things. So I'm going to
Yes.
create feature configuration builder example. You're absolutely right, Myra. It's a good practice, and practice what we preach. So let's make sure I get that in. Cool. So I can actually do my commit over here inside of Visual Studio Code. So I'll commit that. Yes, automatically stage that. Do it.
Oh, we have a new PR for duplicated. So let's see. It's in.
Oh, very
he's on
cool.
it.
Thank you, Ward, for sending that along.
Yeah, awesome. We have people now fixing duplicated.
Absolutely. You know what? It's more power to you. Playing with Scissors is asking, what's the +1, -1 that they're seeing here on my prompt in PowerShell? So I have an extension installed called PoshGit that will format and give me Git information about my source code repositories as I'm navigating around my code here. So the +1 ~1 shows there's a new file that was added to my repository, but it hasn't been like staged yet. The ~1 shows that there's a file that's been changed. -0 shows that no files have been deleted.
Oh,
So
cool.
I ran the commit, so it's there. It's in my branch.
I haven't seen this before.
Oh my gosh, very cool extension. And the follow-up question is, where did I install PoshGit from? PoshGit is you can get it from the PowerShell repository, from the PowerShell. What do they call it? It's the PowerShell NuGet repository. PowerShell Get, that's what they call it. So I actually have I believe I have a link to this from my live stream repository out on GitHub as well. But if you just look up posh-git, I know some of our European friends are kind of giggling at that name because it has different connotations, particularly in Great Britain. But it's really cool to go and add and make that happen. Uh-oh. Where's a hammer when you need one? Stop posting links. Oh, Nightbot is upset at Bill. All right, I'm going to...
Or maybe just put the repo name without the URL so that at least we can see where the PR is.
So, and then John posted the link in Mixer. There's our friend John Galloway. I'm going to add Bill Wagner so that he can post links. There we go. So go ahead, Bill. You can try posting that link again, and Nightbot won't clobber you. All right, Playing with Scissors says, sounds good. I only have a branch name. I should add that other info too. Well, if you're on Bash, there's different things you can do to make that work. All right, there you go. So there's the link, and Nightbot didn't clobber you. So, all right. So I'm going to push this. I'm going to push this feature branch up to my my forked copy of the repository. So C# Fritz docs, right? .NET docs. .NET. No. It's the branch name feature configuration builder example. All right, so we'll push that up. Blah 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 blah. There it is, new branch. So if I go over to my copy and do a refresh here, so there it is saying that I've got a new feature that was pushed up. So create a pull request into master. Now, should I open an issue for this before I submit the pull request?
I'm sorry?
So I'm creating the pull request for
Yeah.
my update. Should I create an
Yes.
issue first?
You don't need it.
Okay. So added examples to system configuration builder.
You already did the work anyway, so.
Okay. So I'm going to clean some things up here, and under details, I'm going to write attempting to emulate the system configuration section with sample C# code and example configuration XML.
Posh kid founding many high-end wine bars near you. I love that.
All right. Suggested reviewers. So should I list you as a suggested reviewer? Should I put Bill? Who should I put here?
Yeah, or we could even do Rick Anderson, since this is more ESP.NET thing. I don't know if he's in our, let's see if he's.
Where's Isaac? We'll put Isaac on the list too. I'm just going to start listing friends. Bill Wagner.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Can I do this? Yes, let's do that. No, I shouldn't do that one. I won't list Scott Hanselman on there. All right. Cool. So I will create that.
You're good.
Cool. All right. Well, that was easy.
Yeah, that's what we tried to.
And in a couple days, if there's any reviews that are needed, hopefully we'll get it updated and we'll have a better article out there about how to use configuration builders.
That's awesome.
Cool. Now, I know you were telling me that there's some other cool features that have been added to docsmicrosoft.com recently to let us try to use some of these features right here in the browser.
Yeah. So we
wait a sec.
So we have a new site called try.net, which is like a REPL, so you can write code and run right on the browser, and we incorporated that feature into the docs. So we're starting with some APIs. So I think we have Daytime that has that runnable feature on the samples for C#.
Okay.
And Bill Wagner wrote some awesome tutorials for beginners in how to learn C# as well. So
all right, so I'm
some of those.
So I'm going to navigate directly to the datetime struct object.
Yeah.
And so this is the API for it. Now, this looks really cool. So instead of just seeing here's my language, copy the code, there's also a run button out here. All right, so if I click the run button, I get a little spinner, and there I get some output here, and I can actually edit the code right here in line in the page. That's pretty cool. That's really neat. So I could do things like my
You can put a newer day. Yeah.
Yeah, right? Right, let's make it this and do that. Sure. Run. 5/27/2000 at 0830. Cool. Easy. So, simple way for me to try out the API, tinker with it, and get immediate feedback in the browser. Don't have to install anything. That's awesome. And the try.net stuff, that was my colleague Maria Nagaga has been
Yeah.
working on that and helping that team out. Very cool. Now, you were saying about tutorials. There's some great tutorials out here.
Yeah, so for C Sharp, Bill has started to write some awesome tutorials. So if you go to the homepage of our .NET docs, and you can navigate on the breadcrumb as well.
So if I do like tour of .NET or get started.
Yes, on the C Sharp guide, there is the quick starts there. Quick starts. On the C Sharp guide.
Oh, on the C Sharp guide. C Sharp getting started articles. No, wrong one. It's the tutorials. I was just there looking at it. C Sharp tutorials.
No, so that's the getting started. We have it's called like quick starts. So
Oh, all right. Let me go back to the top. Get started, tour of .NET.
yeah, we need to add a link to that. So it's
Oh,
not
way up top. Get started with C Sharp.
yeah. So
Oh, here we go.
It's like under So if you go under the menu, it's called quick starts.
Yeah, there it is. All right. So now I can do things like numbers in C Sharp and explore integer math, order of operations. So these are things that, gosh, my daughters who are in their early teens can get in here, tinker around, even on their iPad, and learn some of this stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So you can run it right on the browser, and then there are some of the lessons that start to take that code into Visual Studio Code or your preferred code editor.
Sure, right? If I want to use full Visual Studio or even VI, I could copy it in there and then run it somewhere else. So I can do things like I'm just copying the code here by clicking the copy button. And if I just do a Control V over here, there's my code. I'll click Run and output over there in the corner. It's too easy to learn and get used to .NET now, you know? We're really breaking this down, not requiring folks to install, right? Go through, gosh, you hear our friend Scott talk about this all the time. You know, you want to teach folks how, 4 or 5 years ago, you wanted to teach folks how to do .NET. Hey, we're going to spend an hour installing Visual Studio, friends. Here's a 2 gig ISO. It's like, oh gosh.
Yeah.
But this, I mean, everybody's got a phone. I'm assuming it'll work on a phone. This is straight HTML. I'm running Firefox.
I think it does. Yeah.
Very cool, though. Why is there a timer, though? It's just giving you some idea as to how much time it's going to take to finish learning this section of the tutorial, I believe. Am I reading that right?
Yeah. And so, like, it's not scientific, but like we kind of try to estimate how much the lessons will take.
Okay.
Yeah.
So more of these lessons are being built?
Yeah, we want to build more. I don't, Bill can, if he's still there, like he can mention if there's anything planned right now, but we definitely are going to add more.
Cool. So for our friends out there, we have a Get Starting with C Sharp. Are there plans to do this for F Sharp or VB?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer. For now, I know that C Sharp is. That would be a good question for Maria to
help out with.
Answer. Okay. Yeah, because I don't know what the plans are.
Okay. List collections. Oh, this is one. I like list collections. You know, it makes it easy to manage data in memory. So simple for blocks. Very cool
as
stuff.
You go through, like if you do the first page and then you come back, it has those texts, so it shows where you stopped.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if you.
Oh, the tick marks over here.
Yeah, the tick marks. So it shows you where you stop, and so when you come back later, if it's on the same machine, of course, like then it will show you where you were, what you did or not.
Very cool. Oh, I got to put my name in here. And Maira running with scissors. Got to make sure that we talk about him there. There you go, running with scissors. Now I'll run the code.
That sounds dangerous.
It is. Oh, we've got dangerous people in the chat room there. And there's our friend Shane joining us. Hey, Shane. There we go. Hello, Jeff. Hello, Maira. Hello, running with scissors. Hello, Anna. Hello, Philippe. Very cool. And then we can continue through and do other cool things here. Names add, so we can learn how to add things to this. That's pretty cool stuff. Easy for folks to learn. And to be, I know there's work being done to see if we can make this a little bit more portable. That'll be great. Be able to hand that off to other folks that are building their own APIs for stuff in the .NET community.
Cool.
So I'm looking forward to that, and seeing a little bit more about this. Let's see. Love how easy it is to just get started learning C# now. Great work. Very good stuff.
Yes.
Is my PR targeting docs or ASP.NET docs for Ward? Okay, so they're looking. Oh gosh, they're looking for Ward's fix. Try and get that through. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, but we maybe he did in another repo, like, because yeah, that typo is everywhere. So.
And thanks for the follow, Scott. We appreciate that. And our friend Steve is here, sweating like he's just got done running the marathon. And Mr. Magoo's here. Thank you, Mr. Magoo, for joining us. It doesn't work on the phone. Oh no! What phone do you have?
Let's see. I gotta try that now.
And Shane was busy reviewing docs. Gosh. This is really cool. So we've got great ways to learn and run this code here in the browser. And to be clear, it's not actually running in the browser. You're keying it in, but it's actually being executed on a server and being painted on the screen.
Yes.
Android.
Yeah, what I meant by running on the browser is like you don't have to install an IDE and have things on your machine. You just run it from where you are. So
right, for folks who are a little bit more advanced with their web development, right? There's things like WebAssembly where your code can be compiled and run directly in the browser, right, on the guest machine. That's not what's happening here. This is actually there's a server-side process compiling and delivering the code. The results of the code. Let's see. Android is having a little bit of a problem, is what they're seeing. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And this was a commit to Office documents from Ward. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So
hopefully they are very responsive, and we'll get to your PR soon. I don't have access to that, so.
Right, we can fix and work on the .NET docs from here.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. You know what? Is there anything else you want to talk about here? Any other things you want to take a look at with the documentation?
Gosh, I don't know. Do people have any suggestions on the?
Yeah. Any questions in the chat room? We've gone through. We've shown a lot about the process here. You've seen some of the information. Oh, that's right. You can leave feedback at the bottom of the documents too.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can leave feedback for the articles, or if you'd like to see features or things that you'd like to see improve, or if you find a bug that is not like that, you don't feel it's a content bug, it's like a site bug, or you would like to see something different. On the bottom of on the banner in the bottom, there's a link for our user voice as well.
So what we were saying earlier about this bit right here with a string validator, it changed the color to this teal color, and it didn't flip back. The syntax highlighting got stuck effectively.
Yeah.
So this is a good place to come down to the bottom, and there's a user voice here somewhere, isn't there?
Yeah, right down in the page, like.
It was all the way down the bottom.
Yeah, it's a feedback. I think it's called feedback. It's not there?
I don't see it.
Let's see.
Oh, here it is, way over here in the footer.
Yeah.
That looks like site feedback, though, not about this specific doc.
Yeah, so, for the APIs don't have that? That's interesting. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't. Doesn't show a way to. Okay, that's good to know. I'll let them know.
And and you can download the whole thing as a PDF over here.
Yes.
Because
So I think
like
for
PDFs.
the APIs, it downloads the namespace that you're in because it's so huge that.
Oh yeah. It just system.configuration, and it's 1,044 pages. Let me put that on my Kindle.
Yeah, so it's kind of like limited to the TOC that you're in, to the table of contents that you're seeing. The other thing that we can show is that you can change the product on the version selector there. And so if you're developing for .NET Core instead, then you can choose the version that you're working with in the dropdown.
Right. Now, configuration section doesn't exist there, so I would have to do a search again. But this is just repainting what's here in the table of contents. No, I've still got configuration section.
Let's see.
There isn't a configuration section in .NET Core, is there?
Let's see. What does it say in the bottom? Let's see. Applies to no. Yeah, we found a bug, I guess.
I'm good at this. If I go to .NET Standard and I flip to a different.
Yeah, because the applies to in the bottom tells what the .NET implementations that is supported, and so it doesn't say .NET Core.
Right. So if I were to be looking at this and choose one of those that it does. Oh, actually, no, it says .NET Core 2.2.
Okay.
2.0.
So I was looking at Configuration Builder.
So if I choose to go to a framework that it doesn't exist in, it just refreshes the current page, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, you should get a banner saying that you don't. Yeah, you get a.
Oh, there it is.
Saying that it's not available in the current.
Okay, that's cool. And Scott's chiming in there in the chat room and saying that the docs are localized as well, so it's not just English. So even though I typed in my document there for Configuration Builder in my broken American, because I like to say I speak one language and I speak it badly, and it's American.
But that's an interesting thing for spelling. When we're writing documentation, our guidance is to use American spelling. So if we see something that is using British spelling, for example, we'll comment it out because that's our guidance in terms of which English to choose. And if like So Shane is saying that they are auto-generated, and so in the case of .NET, we actually it's auto-generated based on reflection, and we kind of created this combined view of all of .NET in one, right? So the source is unique, and we're working also to establish how we can have some conditional content that we can say, oh, this only applies to core. And so when you choose the filter, you'll be able to see content that only applies to core versus framework. But that's like features that might come up in the future. But right now, it's a single source. And for .NET, because there's so much legacy that we cannot touch the entire code base, we actually do the docs. It's auto-generating in terms of the structure, but the content itself, we do that. So that's a difference from other repos where the ASP.NET API, it's all based on code comments.
Very cool. All right. So here's the document that we started with from Configuration Builder, and all the stuff that was down here under the members and the signature. This was all generated based off of the // documentation inside the source code for this class. Actually, yeah. Wait a sec. This is configuration builder XML, but I see all kinds of references to configuration section. Oh, for process configuration section. My bad. Oh, for a second there I thought, oh my gosh, I broke something.
Well, but our CI build would pick up, and if you...
And yeah, somebody would
get mad and we would not merge. Oh, yeah. And Ward found a double D in the... Okay, my search didn't account for the with the inside the link when they fix it. So that was a good catch.
Oh my gosh. Very, very cool. Thank you, Ward, for chipping in here. So let's see what else is happening here in the chat room. Interactive code box under quick starts doesn't start on docs.microsoft.com. Okay. So they're taking a look at the interactive code docs. Translating this to Markdown is going to be a pain. Very
yeah,
cool.
I'm almost calling myself, like, instead of a writer, like a migration expert, because we've been through so many migrations in the past few years. So we still have a couple of things to fix, just due to migration. So, but I think we're getting to the end of it, and then we can focus on writing awesome content
and helping. And helping make everybody more successful here.
And adding more samples and things like that.
So, and that's actually a very good point, right? Samples look like an easy way for folks to get involved, write a little bit of code, and get that pull request in. So it's more than just fixing the right. It's adding a sample that shows here's the code to do, right, configuration with a configuration builder. That little sample that I added, right.
Yeah, and like there are other ways to get involved as well. Like we have someone that they watch out for PRs that are coming, and he comments and gives his feedback, and so you can just learn on how we do the work and learn like how. Even to, like, I've never contributed to an open source project. I want to learn how to do that. And it's very easy. And I think the docs repo is kind of a great way to get started, because maybe contributing to something like the .NET Core code base might be a little bit daunting. So you can get started with docs.
So Shane's asking about the style guide. So right here on the front of docs, you can click through into contributing, and I thought is there a link from here to the style guide? There it is. Be sure to follow proper Markdown syntax. For more information, see the style guide. There's also, here's what the structure of the documentation should look like. Or you could do like I did and just find something that looks exactly like what you want to emulate and just emulate that. John Papa, our friend John Papa is now following. Thank you, John. I appreciate you joining us here on the stream this morning.
Yeah, and we also showed the docs.microsoft.com/contribute. That is the official.
Official.
Yeah.
So, gosh, is that just?
Yeah, I think it would be good to add a link to our mini style guide there.
Our mini style. Oh, the
Because we have one in the repo, and we have the official one. But I think the official doesn't cover like the XREF link that we did. I think that is still not in the official one. So like once we have everything there, we can shut this one down and just link to it.
Oh, there it is. There's that XREF that we did. Right here. Links to APIs. And there's that auto link that we generated to point back to configuration manager.app settings in my little pull request.
Yes.
So
we explain kind of how the different kind of links that you can create for APIs and how they render. So
let's see, what do we got here? No contribution is too small. Some of the smallest contributions make the biggest impact. And that's the truth. Absolutely. Yes. Good morning, Bruno. Good to see you. Actually, Bruno, I think Bruno's from Brazil as well.
Yeah, I think so.
So
Oi,
let's.
Bruno.
The XREF syntax is specific to .NET APIs as well, according to Bill. Okay, very cool. And Shane's asking, what editors or extensions do you suggest? He's using VS Code with the Markdown linters. Which ones? So you mentioned. Oh, there we go. There's Bruno. So you mentioned Visual Studio Code with the Markdown linter. Other folks have mentioned Markdown Monster from our friend
Yeah.
Rick Straw.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, and then the other extensions that we use are just internal for now. Hopefully, some of them will make it external. I don't know the plans. So, yeah, and in some repos, I think that there are some processes that that run that can give you like spell checker and that kind of thing. So,
is there a spell checker for Visual Studio Code?
yes, yeah, I have one extension for that.
Because I am terrible about that, and I know. Oh, there we go. Code spell checker for source code. Oh, look, and it looks like it's already installed. I have all
Okay.
these extensions installed and don't even know it.
Yeah, I use one called spell checker. It's just spell checker. It's like an offline spell checker.
Spell checker. Yeah, code
So
spell
that
checker.
one is, yeah, I think that one is for Markdown
Okay. Spell right.
or for anything. I don't know.
Spelling checker for Russian and English. Oh, spell checker. Offline spell checker. There we go. Yeah.
The Brazilian Portuguese spell checker. I didn't have that one.
My problem with the Visual Studio Marketplace is I end up just clicking and saying, "Ooh, what's cool that I can add this time?" and I mean, look at my installed list here. It's a little bit crazy now.
Oh, so Scott, no, I didn't mention the CLA. So the CLA is the contributor license agreement. And so there is a process when you submit a PR, depending on the size, it will automatically define whether you need to sign a CLA or not. But it's a very easy process. So, but we won't be able, if it's an extensive change, then we won't be able to merge the pull request until the CLA is signed. But it's very easy.
I'm trying to find the documentation about the CLA.
I think we have it in the repo, in the home of the repo. I think we have that. I don't know if we covered that in the contributor yet. Maybe we should. Although, like
Oops, too far.
Yeah, I think the CLA that we run on the .NET Foundation projects, it's a bit different than the one for Microsoft repos
Okay.
because of the .NET Foundation. I think but it's the same thing.
But it's right. To be clear, the CLA isn't trying to harm anyone, right? It's trying to simply say that you're giving Microsoft the right to republish what it is that you're contributing, and that nobody else, your employer, it doesn't have any kind of claim of ownership over that code.
Yeah.
So, Clark IO, thank you for following us, and good morning, Steve. Good to see you again. I think it's hysterical having our friend Steve pop up there. It just is. All right, so that's a little bit about the CLA, right? And for all of our Microsoft repositories, particularly those that the .NET Foundation manages, and our friend John Galloway in the chat room can. He's got plenty of experience with this. The .NET Foundation requires these CLAs to make sure that folks are all compliant and we don't run into any legal issues. So lots of lawyers out there keeping an eye on these things.
Yeah.
So very cool. All right. I think that's a wrap. Is there anything else we want to cover? I think we're in great shape here. CLA info is at the bottom of the contributors guide. There you go.
Yeah, I knew I had it somewhere. Thank you.
Ah, there it is. So, and it's very simple to do. It's all online, easy to click through and say, yes, I grant access to my contributions. So,
Yeah, so the .NET Foundation. Oh, it's really interesting. It's
right.
not the link to the foundation CLA is not working. I'll check with John what's going on.
Did it move somewhere on us?
Yeah. Yeah, so we have a CLA, I think, for the .NET Foundation, and we have a CLA for Microsoft. I believe they are separate. So I think if you contribute to .NET Foundation projects, you get one CLA. And if you contributed to like Azure Docs or Office or something, you might get a different one.
And I didn't get prompted for it because it knows that I'm a member of the team.
Yeah, and once you do it, I think even when you are a team member, sometimes I see that they have to sign, but you do it once and then you're done.
And it goes away. Yeah, it's right. If I go to the front of my profile here, you can see all the organizations that I belong to. So NuGet, Microsoft, .NET Foundation, ASP.NET. It's like I've got too many things that I belong to, but.
Yeah, wow.
But it means I've signed plenty of CLAs.
Yeah. And the notifications get kind of crazy as well. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. My gosh.
Yeah. So I follow .NET Docs pretty closely, and the others is like only when I'm notified. So.
Right. If you're forking that .NET Docs repository, unless you really want to be involved and engaged to watch for all of those issues that are coming through, you're going to see a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
I'm a serial joiner. Oh, thank you, Bill. I am an open source junkie. All right, there you go.
Any other questions folks might have, and you can also contribute to the docs in the localized versions as well. So if you're so if you speak a different language, you can improve the quality of the translation, or there are even typos in the localized docs as well. So, and I think the API reference, it's going to be moving and having the localized version as well. I don't think there is one now. I think it's all in English in docs, but we're finishing the migration.
So, I put in my commit for configuration builder here, and it went under the ENUS. So yes. Somebody could go and do the translation to French, Spanish, Brazilian Portuguese, whatever.
Yeah.
And
so right now on Docs, I think we only are serving the ENUS API content, but they're working on the migration right now for the localized API reference docs.
Okay.
The articles, the conceptual articles are being translated already. And so if you see an error in Portuguese or something, you click edit the same way we show, and you can contribute as well.
Okay, cool. And I've got some folks out there criticizing me that my graph isn't green enough. Hey, I started doing the open source stream out here in November, and that's why you're now seeing more green over here. I've been working on other things back here that weren't open source, all right?
Yeah, my graph is good. So if you go to github.com/MairaW, it shows a nice green graph.
Holy crow. Now that's somebody who does open source. There you go. That's impressive, all right? So, all right.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see how, like, I posted a little while ago on Twitter how that shifted, because if you go back in 2017 or 16, like, that was not the case. So our work was really becoming like open source, like all the way. So
you can clearly see it's really open source, and all these things are out there. So cool stuff. The graph is always greener on the other side.
Yeah, and when I see issues on other repos as well, I do pull requests to them as well. So
right, like John Galloway's repositories.
Yeah, for Google Summer of Code. That
Very cool stuff. All right. Well, what do you say we call it a wrap there?
that's good to
All
me, unless
Unless there's
it was
anything
a
else we can...
pleasure. It was a pleasure, and nice to meet everybody online here. And thanks for joining
Yes.
my coworkers as well.
Yeah, I know. A bunch of doc writers popped up there in the chat room. It's very cool. Thank you for joining us. So you can check out the contribution that I made. That's the configuration builder class out here. If you look for system configuration builder for .NET Framework 4.7.1, hopefully we'll see that change come in here when the docs get rebuilt over the next couple days. But probably by next week you'll see that get updated. Big thanks to you, Maira, for joining us today. And folks, if you come back on Saturday morning, my guest then will be Sarah Dukevich, and we're going to talk about web usability then. Of course, this video will be archived. We'll push it over to the YouTube channel. You can get there by going to youtube.jeffreyfritz.com. And I'll put together some links and a quick blog wrap-up of this discussion with Maira a little bit later today, maybe tomorrow. So... thanks everybody for joining us. This was great. Thank you so much, Maira.
You're welcome.
I'm glad we got this through.
Yay! Thank you, everybody. It was a
Alrighty.
pleasure.
Cool. I'll see everybody later. Thanks.
Bye. Thanks.